Sauk Prairie Area Chamber of Commerce, and I am thrilled to see so many people starting the new year joining us for our educational series. We used to do this at lunchtime, so if you hear me refer to your meeting as Lunch and Learn, I apologize. I'm trying to remember it's coffee and coaching now. We have planned an amazing series for 2024, and I am so excited about our facilitator, and so I want to take a moment just to read a couple of things. Eric Feinendegen, and I'm going to not get that right, and with a name like Twana, I really tried. Eric is from Gurnee, Illinois, and I have had the opportunity to meet and plan with him through the fall as we designed this series. And I can tell you, if you leave with nothing else, you're meeting an incredible individual today who really has a passion for continuous learning. What I hope that each and every one of you will do is take good notes, take the information, and go back to your organization and share it in staff meetings or opportunities to share with others so that as a community we can all continue to grow. A little bit about Eric. He is an award-winning and internationally recognized speaker, trainer, and executive coach. He is a two-time finalist. I want you to listen to this because this is impressive. He is a two-time finalist in the World Championship of Public Speaking, a TEDx speaker, a professional MC, and a certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team. His clients range from solopreneurs to corporate CEOs, and he is also the author of a best-selling book, The FEIN-er Things, a 52-week guide to inspiration in your workplace as well as home. If you want to purchase one of these today, he is selling them for $10. So after today's training, you can see Eric up here. And in addition, you have a pen on your table from Eric, but you also could get some lip balm. So check out this table whenever you're done today. And with that, I'm going to allow Eric to tell you a little bit more. And to get started, Eric, take it away.
So much. Excuse me. All right, let's get a round of applause for Tawana for putting this together. Thank you so much. And what she didn't tell you is if you get the book today, this morning, I'll go ahead and waive the shipping just for you this morning. Okay. There we go. All right. It is great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Wow, what an unbelievable crowd. And we're going to jump right into things. Since this is coffee and coaching, and coffee is my kryptonite, I think we should start out with a little coffee comedy. My doctor told me the other day, he said, Eric, you really have to limit the number of cups of coffee that you have. I said, okay, that is no problem. I can go ahead and do that. All right, so I have 3 kids, 2 which are teenagers, so this is my new mantra when it comes to coffee, right? Hello, darkness, my old friend. And of course, way back in the day, you know, when we used to engage in some drinking games, they were fun, but I will never engage in a drinking game that does not include coffee. That is for sure. And where's John, who supplied the coffee? John, let's give a round of applause for John. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay. All right, so as mentioned, I live in Gurnee, which is about 2.5 hours down south. So I do not have the opportunity to, come up here and engage with the chamber, but I am stalking you on Facebook, all right? And I've seen these pictures. Many of you in this room were probably here at this event. This was the gala from last month. Listen, I've been speaking for over 20 years, and I speak to Fortune 500 companies, associations, chambers, all over the world. This is one of the coolest organizations that I have ever been a part of and known. So give yourselves a round of applause. The way that you support one another is wonderful. And who's the rock band?
Listen, we had 6 acts.
Okay.
They were all amazing.
All right, are they coming here this morning? All right.
There might be a few dancers in the room.
So in speaking, we have rules. Right, you don't follow grandmothers, puppies, or rock bands. Yes. So I want to make sure that the rock band's not going to be here. All right, but before we get, final thing, I have earned my top badge award by following Sauk Prairie Chamber on social media. All right, let's jump into it. As mentioned, we're here to have a new year and a new you. We're going to talk about becoming a person of influence, as well as moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So we're going to focus on influence first. POI is what I like to call it. And I want to go over some of the goals of the training, which is first, to allow you to have a better understanding of influence. Because the better you understand it, the more you can use it in your professional and personal life. Also, to increase the influence that you have with others. Because if you do that, you'll have a much greater impact in the world. And of course, the goal here is to have some fun. As the pictures showed, I know that is not going to be a problem. And I don't know if this has gotten out, but it is my birthday today. So, thank you. So the goal here is to celebrate and have a lot of fun. And I think we're definitely going to do that. All right, also, we're here to stretch you. If you leave this room the same as when you walked in, I have not done my job. I've wasted all of our time. We do not want that to happen. So I'm going to stretch you mentally, and also I'm going to stretch you physically. There's going to be some interactive opportunities. And since it's the morning, we got to get the blood pumping. The mind and the body are connected. Let's do a quick stretch to the left. All right, nice. Don't hit your neighbor. And a quick stretch to the right. Okay, good stuff. In terms of mental stretching, what I want you to do is think of it as a rubber band, right? When you stretch a rubber band and then you let it go, it doesn't go back to its original shape. I don't want your mind to be its original shape as we walk out. In order to do that, I'm going to set the expectation, which is this. We're here to learn, we're here to laugh, we're here to have a good time, and we're here to support one another. It's very important in an environment of learning that it's supportive, non-judgmental. Listen, I have a lot of answers, but I do not have all of them. I'm going to learn from you just like you're going to learn from me, and we're all going to learn from each other. That's where the magic happens. It's sharing ideas, learning from one another. So let's go ahead and make sure that everybody feels supportive. Also, please keep an open mind. Some of the things I may share this morning could be radical, or you may not agree with, and that is fine, right? Treat this like a buffet. You use what works best for you, but please keep an open mind. Our minds work best like parachutes when they're open. In addition, I'm going to put a little fear of loss into the mix here. You could learn something this morning that could change the entire trajectory of your life and your career. That's why it's so important to be open to new ideas. And I share this because Mark Zuckerberg, many, many years ago when he was in college, he asked 5 people to listen to a business idea. 3 had a closed mind. They said no. 2 said, Mark, we're willing to listen to what you have to say. Well, those 2 became billionaires, and as we know, Mark Zuckerberg is the CEO, one of the richest men in the world of Facebook and now Meta. All right, so what is influence? Very abstract term, and I'm going to influence you right now with lottery tickets. So who wants to offer what they feel is influence? If you give me a definition, you get a lottery ticket. Nobody wants? Yes, what you feel is influence.
Ability to have someone follow you or do what you ask them to do.
Perfect. So ability to follow. And let's get one more. Someone in the back, yes.
To have impact.
Perfect. You guys have done your homework. To have impact. Okay, as mentioned, we want a supportive environment. Let's give a round of applause to our volunteers. Thank you so much. Okay, and you can pick one of the lottery tickets. If you win, I want 10%. Okay, we'll go back here. You buy lunch next time, right, if you win. All right. So it's important to define it so we're all working from the same spot. But let's get the definition. You guys are very close. which is the power to change or affect someone or something. Specifically, the thoughts, feelings, or actions of an individual. Now, each one of you in the room here today was influenced to be here by one reason or another. It could be the amazing coffee, right, that John has and that he offers. Or Tawana could have called you and said, hey, I need people in the room, right? That may have brought you here. Or because you wanted to learn something. Look at what you're wearing. You were influenced to pick this, what you were wearing this morning because maybe how it made you feel, how it made you look. So as mentioned, I have two sons. They both love basketball. My youngest son, Kevin, he's 10. He's a huge Milwaukee Bucks fan. Yes. So what shoes does he wear? The Giannis's. My other son, he's a huge Chicago Bulls fan. What does he wear? The Air Jordans. We're all influenced in some fashion. Now, I'm going to give you some other examples of influence. About 15 minutes ago, Tawana comes up to me. She says, Eric, I got to be honest with you here. You can't drive more than 15 miles an hour on this road. I said, Tawana, I walk faster than 15 miles an hour, right? But we're influenced on this road, 21st Street, not the speed, because when we see that, what do? Pump the brakes. Absolutely. Our behavior has been impacted. Here's one of my favorites that's surfing around, right? That looks like a very hungry dog, but it knows I'm not getting anywhere near my dog bowl because I don't want to have a bath full of a tomato soup. One of my favorites. We've all been in this situation. Walking down the street, it's clear that someone has dropped some money, but they're long gone. What do? If you're like me, you reach down, you pick it up. Our behavior has been influenced. So the big question is why? Why do we want to use this power? Well, because without it, we cannot be successful in business. Salespeople cannot move product or service. Managers and executives, they cannot cast a vision and have their employees buy into that vision. Let's take it to the personal level. If you're a parent, you cannot connect with your children without the ability to influence them in a positive manner. There's another reason. Leadership is influence. If you're following along in the workbook, if you want to open up your workbooks, that is in there. Those two terms are interchangeable. I am going to use them as the same term throughout this training. If you increase your ability to influence, you automatically increase your ability to lead, which improves your personal brand and your significance in the marketplace. All right, here's a picture of me in a referee shirt. Why am I showing that? Well, it's because what was not said is I actually played 2 years of college basketball. I know it's hard to believe by looking at me. But after basketball, I didn't make it to the pros, and I wanted to stay into the game, so I became a referee. Over my career, and I no longer officiate, but I refereed for 11 years and did well over 3,000 basketball games. Out of all those games, there's one that really stands out. Let me take you back about 20 years ago to Deerfield, Illinois. It was a grade school basketball game. It was a tournament about halfway through the first quarter. A woman in the audience stands up and says, "Look, over there," right at those double doors. Everyone's attention turns to the double doors. 2 massive bodyguards show up, and they're escorting a third individual. Thank you. Yes, no, actually, that's on purpose. I don't want to have this great. And you know what? I want to say this. You want to talk about influence? Right, Aaron right here has influenced me. Round of applause for Aaron. Thank you so much for helping me. Wonderful. All right. 3 people show up. Massive individuals. They go up to a second floor rafter that had been roped off with the word that said reserved. Right? As the largest individual sits down, everybody else stands up, and including myself, starts to give them a standing ovation. Now, you may be wondering, who are these people? Well, the one they were giving the ovation for was none other than the great Michael Jordan. Wow. Turns out his son was actually in the game that I was officiating. Now, you want to talk about getting nervous? Now, when you can walk into a room, not say a word, stop time, and have people give you a standing ovation, that's influence. That's impact. Here's point number one. Please write this down. Everyone can have impact. You don't have to be the greatest basketball player and a Hall of Famer that ever lived. It's the things we do on a day-to-day basis that makes the biggest impact. So, Erin, where are you? She back at her? Erin created an unbelievable amount of impact for me, thank you, last night. She welcomed me. Eric, what do you need? She helped me with the sound check, right? She showed me the facility. That's influence. That is impact. That is where we make a difference in the world, and that's where you're going to make the difference in the marketplace and the places where you work. Let me give you some other examples. Okay, you're good. Thank you. Thank you. Some other examples. Influence is when you listen to your teenage son or daughter who may be going through a difficult time, right? They could be getting bullied or difficult time at school. It's when you show understanding to a coworker who may not be getting a concept. It's when you have empathy for a neighbor who might be going through a divorce or a bankruptcy. That's how we make a difference, and that is influence. I want to show you another personal example. It's my 13-year-old son, Ben, who last September was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. When my wife and I got the news, we were extremely distraught, confused, had a lot of fear, as well as Ben. We went down to Lurie's Children's Hospital in Chicago, but that's where we met a nurse named Barbara, who also has type 1 diabetes, and who has worked in that hospital for many, many years. And here's what she did. She showed us grace and gave us hope and optimism. She cared for Ben. She talked to him about his journey that he's going to be going through, nurtured him, cared for him. And because of that, our outlook on the future changed dramatically. You can have that same power with your ability to influence, both in your personal life and in the workplace. So let's take a look at inventory. How many people do you want to impact in your lifetime? On average, you impact 4 people a day. Everyday interactions, you extrapolate that out, that's about 10,000 people throughout your lifetime. But we are not average people here in this room, right? We are go-getters and doers. So I'm going to share with you the top 10 social media influencers. We've got Ronaldo, close to 800 million, Leo Messi, Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, all the way down the line, right? These are the top. Other types of influencers. Every year, Time Magazine lists their top 100. As you can see here, people from all walks of life, different genders, beliefs, ethnicities, you name it. So it doesn't matter where you come from, big town, small town, everybody can have an impact. All right. How you affect the decisions, behaviors, and feelings of others determines your level of impact. I'm going to start with the lowest level, the worst level on how we can influence others, work all the way up to the top, all right? Worst level is by force. That's the gun in the back. You have to do what I say. Obviously, we don't want to stay there. Next, intimidation. Finger in the face, my way or the highway. I went through Catholic grade school, high school, and college. Trust me. This is how I went through my schooling. I love all the nuns, but anyways. Manipulation. There's a winner and a loser, where you may stretch the truth to get what you want. Best example I can give you on this one is Bernie Madoff, He used his authority and credibility to steal $40 billion from people, manipulated them. Next, position. That's where people follow you because they have to, because you have a title. Something I want you to be very aware of when it comes to position. In order to lead, you do not need a title. Repeating, in order to lead, you do not need a title. The leader makes the position does not make the leader. Give you an example, Mother Teresa. She did not have a position. She lived in poverty. She did not have a C-suite office. She didn't drive a fancy car. Yet she influenced hundreds of thousands of people, changed the culture, and was canonized a saint. No position. Exchange. That's where it's a win-win situation. This is where a lot of people tap out, they max out at exchange. The trap here is that because we feel in a win-win situation, we stop growing as a leader. Next, persuasion. People follow you because they want to. And finally, this is the highest level of influence, respect. That people will go along with you because of the standards you have for yourself and the principles and the values by which you live by. This is where you're going to create the highest level of impact. All right, quick summary before we move on. Leadership is influence. It's the same thing. Our influence can change based on the situation. You don't believe me? Go in another person's house and try and order around their dog. Enough said. This is a great power. We must use it responsibly. Your influence can be both positive and negative. History will tell us that. You can grow your influence by growing yourself. We'll talk about that in a minute. And people of positive influence add value. And we're going to talk about adding value to others. So I'm going to give you my two-step influence formula. If you don't remember anything else here this morning, please remember this. And by the way, can I get a time check when it's 45 minutes into the training? We'll take a break, okay? Get some more coffee, and then we'll start the second half. All right, here's two-step influence formula. Step one, see other people as persons of value. Everyone you meet, put the number 10 on their forehead. Now, most people can see others as valuable. Here's where the challenge lies. Can you help them realize their value? Most people have low self-esteem. Most people do not believe in themselves. Most people need another figure to bear witness against their own inner judge. You can be that person. Next way to influence is through integrity. And by the way, if there's any questions, feel free to raise your hand. One of the best ways to create impact is to be a person of integrity. Please write this down. If people can rely on you, they will do business with you. See, the rules have changed. It used to be whoever was the biggest company was the best company. Whoever builds trust the fastest will win in the marketplace. Plain and simple. How do you do that? Be a person of integrity. Consumers are very skeptical, and rightfully so. A lot of misinformation out there. People getting scammed left and right. Trust will take you farther than anything else. So let's define it. Integrity is a firm adherence to consistent, this is in your workbook, and there's a reason why it's bolded and underlined, consistent moral and ethical standards. In any endeavor, consistency equals greatness. And when it comes to acting with integrity, we cannot pick or choose when we act with integrity. It is an all-the-time thing. right? Look at trust. Very hard to earn, very easy to break. One thing can ruin your reputation in the marketplace. One thing. Think of some of the brands out there, some recent situations, right? So let's go through some examples of everyday events where your integrity could be tested. All right, so sit back, relax a little bit. There's no judging here. This is just an awareness thing. I struggle with some of these. I'll be the first to admit. But again, we must act. We cannot flip-flop when it comes to integrity. All right, example number one, you get wrong change at a grocery store or a place of business. You realize it. Oh, do you go back in and give the change back? Yes or no? Walmart doesn't need it. They have enough money. Next, looking for a job. On your resume, do you embellish a little bit some of the responsibilities you used to do? This one I struggle with, keeping a secret. Your name?
I'm Grace.
Grace. Grace, you are not going to believe what I heard about John right here. Here, can you keep a secret?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Aren't you tempted to go ahead and you're not going to believe what I heard about, right? Next. Thank you, Grace. Taxes are coming up, right? April 17th this year. Charitable contributions. Do you embellish or inflate those? Maybe yes, maybe no. Up to you. Using expired coupons. All right, here's a big one. Working remotely from home. Do you put the same amount of effort working from home as you do in the office? Or we flip-flop that. Do you work as hard in the office as you do from home? I'm a big sports guy. I love golf. Not good, but I love it. Do you lie on the score? Put me down for a 4. All right, and finally, being on time. As mentioned, I refereed. Can you imagine if I showed up late half the time to the games? Wouldn't last too long, right? So these are just things I want you to think about when you're tested almost on a daily basis. Are we acting with integrity? Because according to a study of 1,300 execs, almost 3/4 said that in order to succeed in today's marketplace, integrity is the number one trait that you must have. The number one trait. Because it does come down to trust. Any attempt to influence when trust is not involved is manipulation. Period. That's why we have to have every relationship come down to that single word of trust. Make sense? All right. So, when you're interacting with someone, they're going to ask themselves 3 questions. A, do you care for me? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Number 2, they're asking themselves, can you help me? Right? They're coming to you for help. And finally, the big one, can I trust you? All right? So, now we're going to have a little bit of fun. Where are my 2 volunteers for my blindfolded scavenger hunt? Okay, so we've got Pam and John. Round of applause for Pam and John. Okay. Okay. John, do you have my book? I don't. Okay, all right. So quick trust exercise. I was going to do the trust fall, but Tawana said, Eric, no, too much liability. All right, real quick. If you can put on the blindfold really quick, and I'll ask you to put this somewhere in the room once the blindfold goes on. Okay, so where's my... Can we get a little bit of music here, Aaron? Thank you. Some soft music. Okay. So John, we're gonna turn you here. Okay, not too far, not in the parking lot. She's going out to 21st. How about,
Okay, reverse where you're standing. Okay, turn your body in the opposite direction. There you go. Turn it one more quarter. There you go. Go straight forward. Keep going. You're doing good. Keep going. It's all clear. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Now you're going to stop and you're going to turn to your right and go straight forward. A little bit to the left. There you go. You're going to miss the chair. Keep going. Straight forward. Straight forward. A little bit to the right. Straight forward. Straight forward. You're doing good. It's all clear. Keep going. A little bit to the left. Right about there. Now try to your left. Reach over the couch and look for the book.
Woo! All right, let's get a round of applause. Thank you so much. Woo! Very well done. Very well done. Okay, and you get to keep the blindfold also. Okay, make sure you see me, John. Make sure you see me, John, and I'll go ahead and sign that for you. All right, so the goal of that is very simple. John was influenced because he trusted the instructions. Okay, there was a connection there, and it led to success. All right, so that's the important. All right, moving on. To strengthen your integrity, ask yourself, do I value people? Number 2, do I value myself? And these are in your workbook. It's real simple. If you don't value yourself, it's hard to value others. Next, do I practice and model correct behavior for others? My son spit on the ground the other day. I said, Ben, where'd you learn how to do that? He said, by watching you, Dad. People are always watching us. Next, am I accountable for my actions? Accountability is the #1 driver of success. And next, do I place the interests of the people I lead above my own? It comes down to an attitude of service. All right? Warren Buffett, former richest man in the world, says when he hires, he looks for 3 things: intelligence, energy, and integrity. If you're hiring, I recommend you do the exact same thing. You will not go wrong. I promise you. You will not go wrong. All right, any questions on integrity before we move on to storytelling? Going once, twice? All right. Second way, or the third way to influence is through storytelling. The best brands tell the best stories. Stories are the currency of the 21st century. Let's take a look at Coke and Pepsi. Best example I can give you. Taste test was done a few decades ago. Pepsi actually won the taste test, the Pepsi Challenge. For those of you that are around my age, you probably remember that. For some of the younger people in here, you probably don't. But Pepsi won. However, they could not convert buyer behavior. Why is that? They didn't tell good enough stories. Coca-Cola did. That's why Coke dominates the industry. If you go on Coca-Cola's website, they have a whole page of where they're inviting their customers to share their stories of holidays drinking their product, sitting around the campfire drinking Coca-Cola, right? That's how we connect. The oldest form of communication is storytelling. From the beginning of time, all races, all human beings have told stories. That is how we interact. That is how we connect with one another. Some stats I want you to take notice of. You want to grow your social media following? Tell stories. You'll grow it 3 times faster. You're looking for venture capitalists? Tell a great origin story. Why do you do what you do? That will influence people more than anything. People care just as much why you do something is how you do it. Eric, why do you do professional speaking? Why do you teach? Real simple. Because I grew up in a dysfunctional home. My mother was a former nun. She met my dad after the convent. I just want to be very clear. My dad was a paranoid schizophrenic for 40 years. I grew up very confused. I did not have a strong male role model. I turned to the masters of the stage, those that they taught professional development. That's why I do what I do. Odds are you're going to remember that. See, people remember the stories more than they do the facts. I'm going to give you a lot of facts and figures here this morning. You may or may not remember them, but you'll remember the stories of how that woman nurtured my son, Ben, and how she changed his life. Next, personal narrators receive twice as much engagement on social media. Are you sharing your story? People say to me all the time, Eric, I don't have time to tell stories. That's okay. Paint mental pictures. I'm going to leave that right there. Take a look at that. Does that picture tell a story? Is there a lot of narratives going on in that picture? Absolutely. How many words did I use to describe that? 0. Where do stories come from? My wife is a massive Disney fan, and I am too, admittedly. We went to the Disney Experience, which was in Chicago, no longer there. But anyways, I took that right off the wall. And it says, where do stories come from? I'm going to answer that question for you. Your everyday life. Share stories of your personal experiences, specifically your struggles. Why, Eric, why are you telling me to share my struggles? Well, because we connect heart to heart. You cannot move the head unless you first touch the heart. Period. To want to mention, I've given a TEDx talk. I've also emceed 3 TEDx's, and I coach TEDx speakers. The number one rule is to share your vulnerability, because that's how we connect. I'm going to share with you a brief clip of me speaking. So it is true, I'm a 2-time finalist in the World Championship of Public Speaking. I outspoke 35,000 contestants from 146 countries to earn that title. Thank you. I share that to show you the power of story in sharing your everyday experiences. See, in my industry, people, they will love you they will respect you for your credibility and what you've done. But they will fall in love with you for your struggles and vulnerability. Same is true with you. I'm going to share with you, this is the speech that put me on the world stage. I'm going to share you just a couple of minutes, but the point of this is to say this. So, Eric, I don't have a story of climbing Mount Everest, or I don't have a story of, overcoming cancer or whatever. You don't need it. We make the ordinary extraordinary. Those are the stories that work best. Because remember this, and please write this down. We want to remain similar, not special. You want people that you interact with to say, you know what? You're just like me. If you can have other people say, you're just like me, you will connect, and you will influence, and you will build a relationship. So let's take a look at this. It's called The Secret of Happiness. This is how I share very briefly my struggle of me comparing myself to my perfect twin sister. I've always dealt with this insecurity. My sister was perfect in almost every way. I clearly am not. But here's where I start at the beginning. It's called The Secret of Happiness.
The secret to happiness, Eric Feinendegen.
Oop. Hold on. Let's go ahead. Okay. I don't want to take a break just yet. You guys getting some value so far? You guys getting some good value? Okay. Yeah, if we could get the sound on there, that would be fantastic. All right, quick plug. Anybody want to plug their business real quick? Who wants it? Anybody want? Yeah, okay, here we go. All right, we'll give you 30 seconds to plug your business. Round of applause. What's your name?
Angela, what's that?
Okay, Angela, 30 seconds to plug your business. Go ahead.
I work for Pathway Home of South Central Wisconsin. We're the only homeless shelter
Okay. When it hits 9 o'clock, you let me know. Thank you so much, Angela. Great job. Okay, we're going to try this again. All right, secret to happiness.
The secret to happiness, Eric Feinendegen.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you so much. Can you remember a moment when you felt great? Then you compared yourself to someone else. Contest chair, friends, for years, that was my pain until I found the secret to happiness. February 20th, 1973, I arrived into the world, followed by my twin sister, Susan. But that's the only time I've ever finished ahead of my sister. She won the family genetic lottery. I won the gift of self-doubt. You see, being a twin isn't easy. Imagine being compared to the most perfect person you know every single day. As a kid, I look in the mirror and think, Susan got that magnetic smile. I got cavities. She got the baby blue eyes. I got pink eye. She got the cute freckles. I got acne. I bought a new mirror. Same reflection. In high school, it got worse. Susan was voted homecoming queen, prom queen. She even dated a guy named Steve McQueen. She was the it kid. I was the zit kid. All right.
I became desperate.
Now, if you want to see how I found the secret to happiness, go on YouTube, type in my name, Secret to Happiness, and you will get the secret. All right, next. All right, so we're going to take a break at 9. Okay, quick 5-minute break, and then we'll go into growth mindset. Okay, moving along. Next way you can influence is being an effective communicator. Real simple. If you cannot communicate, you will have a very hard time influencing. So how do we communicate effectively? Through clarity. We are all on information overload. Real simple, right? A lot of stuff out there. We must be clear in our message, in our value proposition. How do we do that? Number 1, your messaging needs to be short and to the point. Let's take a look at the best brands out there in their messaging. Apple, 2 words, think differently. Nike, 3 words, just do it. Hertz, we try harder. Simple, effective. One of my colleagues actually won the world championship. He's the 2013 world champion. He told me when he was coaching me, he said, Eric, remember this, the shorter, the sharper. The faster you can get to the point, the more persuasive, the more influential you will be. Also with clarity, we must make sure that we're congruent in what we're saying. Every time we communicate, we're having 2 conversations. Really? Yes. One with our words, one with our body. If they are not congruent, we will lack clarity. So if I came out and I said, hi, I'm very excited to be here today. It doesn't work. Hi, I'm very excited to be here today. Right? Now I'm congruent. That's going to be a key to communication. Also with clarity, use verbal shorthand, analogies, and metaphors. So John, since I appreciate what you're doing so much, I could talk about John's coffee, right, in 8 or 9 sentences. Oh my gosh. So then he brews it this way, and then he goes ahead and, you know, the temperature. No. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's like drinking a cup of heaven. See the difference? That's clarity. That paints a mental picture. Everybody wants that cup of heaven now, right? That's how we communicate effectively. Next, connection. I'm going to repeat what I said. People will respect you for what you've done and your credibility, and that is critical. We must share our successes. People want to do business with successful people. We must share that. But remember this, perfection disrupts connection. My wife and I talk about this all the time. We go into social media. I'm sure you've done the same thing. You have, the perfect marriage. You have the perfect house, the perfect kids, the perfect vacation. No! Nobody's perfect. We need to quit trying to be perfect. Connection, similarity, share your struggles. Yes, share your successes. Please write this down. And this goes back to storytelling. I want to make sure the camera gets this too. This is critical. If people can see themselves in your struggle, they can see themselves in your solution. If people can see themselves in your struggle, they can see themselves in your solution. Trying to lose that last 5 or 10 pounds. I've been dieting, I've been eating correctly, I've been exercising, I can't do it. Me too. You're just like me. You know what? I found out a way how to get rid of that last what? Really? Now you're connected. Now you've communicated effectively. Color your conversations. The worst thing you can do, let me prep. One of the worst things you can do in life is be boring. So as mentioned, I wrote a book called The FEIN-er Things, 52-week guide to living an inspired life. In the book, I talk about what ruins relationships. Monotony is the number one thing that ruins relationships. Boredom. It's not infidelity. It's not financial problems. Boredom. In boredom in the workplace will not create a culture that allows people to thrive, right? Are we having some fun here this morning? Yeah. Right. What if I came up here and it was boring? Tawana would have to change from a 7-session, training to a 1. No one would come back. So we color it through humor, self-deprecating humor. It's a different workshop. The other way is tonality. Tonality. That's how you color your conversations. By having a monotonous tone, that will cause people to check out faster than anything else. Give you an example. So if I came out and said, Tawana, thank you for having me. It's very great to see everybody. Yes, my name is Feinendegen, and we're going to go over some things here today that I think you could use. No! I'm excited to share this material. You can feel the tonality, right? I'm telling you, who's in sales? Raise your hand. Well, we're all in sales. Life is just a series of sales situations, but by title, you're in sales, okay. Right? If you want to increase your sales, increase your tonality. I've done cold calling for 30 years. You can imagine some of the responses I get, right? The number one driver of my success is my tonality on the phone. It's great to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Awesome. Can you feel that? Next, confidence. I have it twice for a reason. Passion persuades. Conviction convinces. You want to influence others? Believe in your product. Believe in your service. Believe in what you do. They will buy your belief more than anything else. Confidence. And I want to go back to connection here real quick because it's important. I missed it. One of the worst mistakes you can make, we got a minute, is trying to convert before you connect. Connection comes first. The example I want to give you is this. That's like asking someone to marry you before you date them. What? No, you date first, you build a connection, then you ask for the hand in marriage. What we're doing in business, especially in sales, is we're trying to convert before we connect. No! Connect first, and you connect through confidence. Passion persuades, conviction convinces. Okay, I'm going to end this with listening, and then we're going to move into 5-minute break, then we'll move into growth mindset. We're in the attention economy. This is in your workbook. If you want to strengthen your relationships in your professional and personal life, be a better listener, period. People are desperate to be listened to. This is in your workbook, but if you want to highlight it, people will not hear unless they've first been heard. People will not hear unless they have first been heard. So my daughter is 16, just got her license a week ago, so I don't want her driving on that road out there for 15 miles an hour. But as you can imagine, we have some challenges, right? 16, all teenagers. She's not listening to me, not doing what I said, we're butting heads all the time. I said, okay, what am I gonna do here? Eric, follow your own advice. So here's what I decided to do. Every week, her and I are having dinner together. There's this hole-in-the-wall burrito place right near, it's halfway between where I work and her high school. I pick her up every Friday night. My 16-year-old daughter, Rachel, and I have dinner together, just me and her. And we spend an hour just talking. What's going on at school? Do you like your classes? Right? She's in show choir. Do you have any events coming up? Right? How's so-and-so? And I'm going to tell you right now, that has strengthened our relationship more than anything that you can imagine. It is a miracle and a gift. You want to give someone a gift, be an active listener. Now, for the sake of time, and maybe we can touch upon it when we do a recap next time, I'll go into some of the ways that you can become a better listener, but just be intentional, right? And make time for it. I promise you, the depth of your relationships and the connection will be off the charts. Get excited just thinking about it. Okay, so we're going to move on here. And here we go. All right, as we get through the listening, I'm going to end with this. Okay, sharpen your axe. To attract, you must become attractive. To attract, you must become attractive. How do you do that? Sharpening your axe. It's in your workbook. There's some ways that you can sharpen your axe, become more attractive in the marketplace. But the number one thing you can do is model others. Who's elite in your field? Do what they do. Real quick story before we break. You may know this person. He's a professional comedian. His name is Dobie Maxwell, located out in Milwaukee. Anyone know Dobie? Anyone ever seen Dobie? Okay, sure. Well, Dobie, he's my comedy mentor, right? Teaches me how to be funny. So, because he's one of the best in the world at what he does, he let me follow him around and watch him on stage. And I was amazed at what he did and how he interacted with an audience, how he handled hecklers, right? How he called the room. If there was a distraction, how he managed that. You know, how he did the set up, punch, all of that. I was amazed simply by watching. So if you want to sharpen your axe, keep coming to these meetings, keep learning from one another, but model the best in your field. Perfect. All right, 5-minute break, and then we'll come back on how to move to a growth mindset. So we'll start at 9:10. We'll see you at 9:10. All right, cue the music, please. Time to give away some lottery tickets, so if you can take your seat. Lottery tickets, take your seat. There we go, influence. Affecting the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of others through money. Works every time. All right, back for part 2. Okay, for a lottery ticket, name one thing you learned in the first session. Anybody? Anybody for a lottery? Yes. Stories. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Round of applause there. Something else. Lottery ticket. Something you learned. Yes. Become a better listener. Absolutely. Okay, round of applause. There we go. I've got one left for 2,000. No, you got it right. Next time. We'll do it. Yes, go ahead. We're gonna.
You will miss your opportunity if you don't show up, if you're not the guy in the room, like the guy from Facebook.
Absolutely. Yes, great job. Thank you so much. Keep an open mind and show up. All right. Okay, we're going to talk about moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Point number 1, you can have a fixed mindset in certain areas and a growth in others. It's not an all-for-one type of thing. All right? So you maybe have a growth mindset in your financial life or spiritual, whatever it be, but you may be fixed in something else, right? So it can change either way. I want to share with you a quick story again. What am I doing? We're telling stories. You'll remember this one. When I was in college as an intern, I worked for a credit union, Baxter Credit Union, and I was doing sales. I was selling extended warranties on new and used auto loans. And I was on a group of 10 of salespeople, and our sales manager every week, he would list who the number 1 salesperson was every week on the wall and who the lowest was, right? Talk about pressure. Well, I kid you not, every week it was the same person at the top, same person at the bottom. Me and the rest of my teammates were somewhere in the middle, right? So I kept thinking, why is this? Why is it always the same one on top and the bottom? And I found my answer. I walked over to the desk of the person who was last every week. He had a sign on his desk that said, "Sales is hard." Talk about negative programming, right? That's a fixed mindset. Walked over to the number 1 salesperson. She had a sign on her desk in a mirror that said, "Your next sale is 1 smile away." That's growth mindset. That's the difference between the two. The definition is in your book between fixed and growth. See, patience is a virtue, but sometimes, as this shows, we got to change direction, right? We got to do things differently to have change. Not a political statement, just a stat that I ran across. I want to share it. The post-pandemic world saw a staggering 100% increase in natural disasters. It's crazy. Why am I sharing that? We have to be ready. We have to be ahead of the curve. Black swan events happen all the time. Natural disasters, clearly a pandemic, right? We got to stay in front of it. So how do you move from a growth to a fixed mindset? We ask better questions of ourselves. Consider the consequences of these questions. Why is life so difficult? Could this get any worse? Who do you think you are? Will my bad luck ever end? Why me? Right? That's not enough to make you depressed. I don't know what is. Consider the value of these questions. How far can I go? What can I learn from this? Why not now? What am I grateful for? And how can I make this work? So here's my question. And Aaron, if you don't mind, this will be an exercise. We'll just need a minute or two of some music. Where are you stuck? We're all stuck somewhere. For me, it's organization. I'm awful. I hate filing. I hate being organized. It's just, it's not my thing. So a negative question I can ask myself is, Eric, why are you so bad at filing? I'll get an answer. Or I could say, Eric, what can you do to be better organized? Who can you talk to? Right? So what I have you do, we'll take just a quick minute. Jot down an area in your life where you are stuck. Financially, relationally, spiritually, doesn't matter. One area. Write down a negative question, a negative why question that will disempower you. Then what I want you to do is write down an empowering what question. A negative why question and then an empowering what question. Aaron, if we can get a minute of music, that would be fantastic. Go ahead and take your time. Thank you. Okay, before everyone falls asleep, we're going to stop that right there. Thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate it. Quick exercise you can use in every area of your life. All right, next way to move from a fixed or growth mindset is your environment. Driving up here, I kept thinking, I'm entering God's country. The nature, the beauty of this area. We don't get this in Chicagoland, trust me. The animal, I mean, it's unbelievable. Yet, you take one of these beautiful lakes, you pour gasoline in it, oil, throw some empty beer cans, right? You name it, pollute it. Quickly, it'll be devoid of life. Everything will die. Same is true of our minds. We pollute our minds, everything in it will die. Your attitude will die, your inspiration, your motivation, your ideas, dead. We must protect what's going into our minds. A couple studies, doctors they wanted to do a test study on how people recovered. So they took a test group, they took a set of patients, and they put them in a recovery room that looked out on beautiful foliage like we have right here in Sauk Prairie, right? Flowing trees, nature. They took the other set and they put patients in a recovery room that looked out on a stark brick wall. As you can imagine, the people that looked out on flowing nature and life recovered 3 times faster, needed far less pain medication, and had far less post-surgical ramifications than the people that looked out on the brick wall. That's telling. This example is in my book. You can capture a baby shark, confine it to an aquarium, and it will grow in proportion to the size of that aquarium. You can have a fully mature shark still only 6 inches long. Now get this. You take that exact same shark, you release it into the open ocean, it will then grow to reach its full potential. Power of environment. The fact that you're here at Sauk Prairie Chamber means that you believe in the power of environment. I'm going to encourage you to come back not only to these trainings, but to as many events that Sauk Prairie has to learn from each other, to be in a supportive, nurturing environment. I promise you, you will grow professionally and personally. See, change depends on your choices. Growth and change are interconnected. It's in your workbook. Question is, what do you need to change? We're going to go through these relatively quickly. The music you're listening to. Is it bringing you up or taking you down? Are you having positive thoughts? Or limiting thoughts? Stephen Covey says there's always two creations. First the one in the mind, and then the physical manifestation of it. And it's true. Everything you see here in this room first started as a thought in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the clothes that you're wearing. Thoughts are things. Next, experiences. Are you engaging in experiences that give you life and vitality? This is huge. Your friends. Don't raise your hand. Think to yourself, do you have toxic friends in your life? Are they draining you and sapping you of everything good? We can't work all the time. We have to play sometimes. Are you making time for both? Next. As mentioned, my mother was a nun, right? I'm spiritual. Are you strengthening that part of you? Meditation. Okay? Is your soul being fed? Do you have peace in your life? This one's huge. Are you dreaming? As we go through life, many times we get beat up, chewed up, and spit out, right? Life can beat us down. But are you continuing to dream? That will lead to a growth mindset. Things ain't good at home, they ain't good nowhere. I'm going to tell you right now. Does your home life need to be fixed? I already told you I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. Got to fix things at home first. Next. Are you embracing the blessings that you have? It's common knowledge and it's true. The more you're grateful for your blessings, the more blessings you will have. Are you engaging in memories and thoughts that make you smile? What books are you reading? We need to stand on the books to get to the stuff at the higher shelf. I read a new book a month, which is average, right? That's what I can do. That's what I commit to. Some people read a book a week. If you're not reading books on a regular basis, you should. It'll change your life. A book a month will change your life as much as anything else. See, it's so simple. You can change yourself, but not your environment. Growth will be slow and difficult. You change your environment, but not yourself. You'll grow a little bit faster, it'll be less difficult, but you change your environment and yourself. Growth will be fast and more successful. All right, for the sake of time, we're not going to do this right now, but we're going to go home tonight, not tomorrow, 2 nights. What 3 ways can you do to improve your environment? Okay, go ahead and write that down. All right, I want to talk about startup thinking, and we've got about 6 minutes. All right. That's a screenshot from a training I was at. And it said this: 80% of your thoughts need to be new thinking. 20% can be what you've been doing already to be successful. What? Absolutely. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, calls it day one thinking. Someone who's one of the richest men in the world and, right, basically controls the world, I'm going to listen to. But I'm a small business owner like everyone in this room. I don't want Jeff to have all the fun. Day one thinking is not seeing things as they are, seeing things as what they could be. Reimagining. Challenging the status quo. See, it's real simple. What got you here will not get you there. Love these examples. That's a hard drive from 56, right? Day one thinking or startup thinking brought us to that. Got this off the internet. I don't know if it's true or not, but I like the picture. That's a picture of the Titanic with a modern-day cruise ship. See, startup thinking takes things from big to small and from big to bigger. It can go both ways. All right. I talked about boredom. I'm going to bring it back again because it's one of the worst traits you can have in life. Here's what brings about boredom. Our pre-programmed mind. This is in your workbook if you want to jot down some notes. We've been taught what to think, not how to think. I'll prove it to you. Finish these sentences. Early bird gets the money doesn't grow on. Don't count your chickens before they. Ooh. Boy, I'm from Chicago. You guys from Wisconsin. We've all been pre-programmed to believe the same thing. Isn't that crazy? We must change from what to think to how to think. That's what happens when you're caught in a mental loop. Right there. When you're not using day one thinking and challenging things, invigorating your mind, finding newer, better, faster ways to do things. So you have to give up old behaviors, old beliefs, if you want to go up. All right, so we'll end with this. My top 10 day one tips, I'm going to go fast. Eat dessert first. Change your routine. The way you drive to work every day, switch it up. You'll see new things. Create daily content, attitudes. Here's a productivity tip. We're going to talk about productivity. Create before you consume. In the morning, don't go to the email. Don't consume social media. Create. We have an author here, soon-to-be author. I'm going to put that out there. Write first. Okay? Create first. Consume second. Question everything. I used to work at Baxter Healthcare when I came out of college, and I did exposure forecasting for breast implants that were put into females and they were exploding. I had to forecast the exposure. My boss said to me, Eric, don't come to me with the status of things, come to me with solutions. I want 3 answers to the same question. Many times, it was not the first answer that I brought to him that was the most effective. Collaborate, just like we're doing here. Synergy, 1 + 1 = 3. Change early, change often. Those of you that exercise on a regular basis know that you will plateau if you do the same exercise routine over and over again. Next, forecast your future. If you take a trip around the world, it's 21,600 nautical miles. If you were to do that, you were to forecast the weather, who you needed to work with, what kind of rations you would need in order to survive and be successful. Same is true of your life. That same boss said to me, Eric, weekly, he would say, where are we going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now? Forecast it. And if it changes, I want to know. We need to do the same thing in our business. Always be the student. Learn constantly. Couple of quick stats. The top 10 in-demand jobs today did not exist a decade ago. Let that one sink in. Higher educational experts say that 40% of what people are learning in college, on college campuses will be obsolete within the next 10 years. We must stay the student. And all we have to do is look back at the pandemic to know that we must continue to learn and find new ways to do things. Learn from everybody. We were just talking about that. Learn from people that don't look like you, don't act like you. Next, the Greek freak, right? I'm a Giannis fan too. So as I mentioned, I played 2 years of college basketball. When I was in 7th grade, My coach said, Eric, I know you want to play in the NBA one day. Again, it did not happen. He said, I'm going to give you some advice. Hang around the freaks. What? Hang around people that are so good at what they do. They will raise your vibration to a level where you will be forced to change. Whoever's number one in your industry, get around them and learn from them. I promise your life will change. And finally, seek feedback. We all have blind spots in our life. Tiger Woods, greatest golfer that ever lived, arguably. He has a coach. We need to get feedback as well. All right, we'll end with this. What time is it? Is it 9:30? Okay. We are going to end with this, expand your comfort zone each and every day. I want to thank you so much for having me. Did you guys learn a few things? Okay, can we get a big round of applause for the camera real quick? Okay. All right, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you at the next session. Thanks so much for being here.